Quick question. If a friend offers you coffee and you say, "No, I cannot drink coffee," what do they hear? Maybe a robot. Maybe someone who is annoyed. You are only one small contraction away from sounding human. Can't. Today we're tackling 4 contractions that native speakers use every single day. Can't, won't, wouldn't, and should've, and one of them is a secret spelling trap that even native speakers fall into.
Wait, the spelling trap? I have a feeling I know this one.
We will get there in a few minutes, and I promise it will change the way you listen to English. First, welcome to Speak Like a Native. I'm Maya.
And I'm Leo. Let's get into it.
Let's start with a very common belief. Contractions are only for lazy speakers. That belief is wrong. In spoken English, contractions are not lazy. They are how sound becomes fluent, friendly, and easy to follow.
Okay, but I was taught in school to say every word clearly. You're telling me that was the problem?
Not a problem, but it can make you sound robotic. Here's the counterintuitive part. Full forms in speech often create distance. If you tell a friend, "I will not be late," they might think you are making a serious promise or a formal announcement. But if you say, "I won't be late," you just sound like a normal person.
That's a big shift. So contractions are not for informal situations only?
They are for almost all spoken situations. In job interviews, we still use contractions. In business meetings, we use them. We only spell them out in very formal writing or when we need to emphasize the negative.
What do you mean by emphasize?
Good question. Imagine a child wants cake before dinner. The parent might say, "No, you will not have cake." By not contracting, the parent sounds extra serious, almost like a rule. But you won't have cake is warmer while still firm. That difference is why learners who always use full forms can accidentally sound cold or confrontational. Today's 4 contractions are can't, won't, wouldn't, and should've. Let's look at them one by one. For each one, I want you to imagine a real moment, not just a grammar rule.
Okay, let's do can't first.
Imagine you are walking to work and someone stops you to ask directions. You want to help, but you are late. You might say, "I'm sorry, I can't stop right now." That sounds kind. If you say, "I cannot stop right now," it sounds oddly formal, like something from a 19th century novel.
I cannot stop right now. Yeah, that sounds dramatic.
Exactly. And it's not just style. The pronunciation of can't causes real confusion. In American English, can and can't can sound very similar because the final T is often a glottal stop. That means we cut off the air in our throat instead of making a clean T sound.
A glottal stop? That sounds scientific.
Let me make it simple. Say can, then say can't while stopping the air before the T. Can't, can't. You don't need a strong to at the end. You just need that tiny silence, that catch in your throat.
Can't. Can too. I think I'm adding too much.
Many Spanish speakers do that. They pronounce the T too clearly, and then they think they are safe. But the real difference in American conversation is often just the stop. Chinese speakers sometimes avoid the contraction entirely because the final consonant cluster in can't feels unfamiliar. But avoiding it actually makes cannot sound too heavy. So practice can't as a single short word that ends in a tiny block of air.
Okay, can't. That feels more natural.
Yes. Now imagine telling your friend, "I can't make it to lunch." Say it.
I can't make it to lunch.
Perfect. That's real English. The listener hears the rhythm and knows exactly what you mean.
All right, what about won't? I have always wondered why will not becomes won't. It doesn't look related.
It doesn't, and that's a fair question. Won't comes from an older English form. We don't need the history, but we do need the habit. In daily life, will not almost always becomes won't.
Can you give me a situation?
Sure. Your friend invites you to a party. You say, "I won't be there until 9, but save me some food." That's a simple plan. "I will not be there until 9 sounds like you are reading from a legal document.
I won't be there until 9. Got it.
Another example. Someone at work asks if you can take on a new project. If you are already busy, you might say, "I won't be able to help this week." That's polite and clear. If you say, "I will not be able to help," it can sound like you are closing a door with extra seriousness.
So won't can be polite?
Exactly. The contraction takes the stiffness out. Learners from Arabic-speaking backgrounds sometimes tell me they avoid won't because they worry the listener will not understand. But if you say will not every time, you will actually sound more distant. Listeners expect won't because it is the spoken norm.
That's so different from what I learned.
This is why we always practice real speech, not just written English. Repeat after me. I won't forget your number.
I won't forget your number.
Now faster. He won't be happy about that.
He won't be happy about that.
Nice. Do you hear how the energy stays simple and normal? That's what we want.
Now, wouldn't. Is that just would not?
Yes, and it has two very common jobs. First, polite refusal. Imagine a server offers you more coffee. You can say, thanks, I wouldn't want another cup, or I wouldn't like any dessert, but thank you. That is much softer than I would not want another cup.
Interesting. And the second job?
Hypothetical or imagined situations. For example, I wouldn't do that if I were you, or I wouldn't worry about the test. You studied a lot.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. That one sounds wise.
It does, right? Here's another common situation. You're recommending a movie. You might say, I wouldn't start with that one. It's a little slow. That is friendlier than I would not recommend that one.
So wouldn't softens advice?
Exactly. It turns a direct warning into a gentle suggestion. Many learners use I think before advice, which is fine, but wouldn't can do that job by itself. Like I wouldn't leave your keys there.
Oh, that's useful. What about pronunciation? I've heard people say wouldn't for wouldn't.
Good ear. It often sounds like wouldn't or wouldn't, the less silent. So don't say wool-dent, just say wouldn't. Try this. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
Perfect. Fast and natural. Now, if you say, I would not know in a conversation, you are being dramatic or overly formal.
I would not know. Yeah, I hear it.
Now, here's the part that surprises most people. Leo, I'm going to ask you a quick question. How do you spell the short form of should have?
I would spell it should've. Shouldof.
And there it is. If you just answered should've with Leo, stop right now. You are about to fix one of the biggest mistakes in English.
Wait, it's wrong? I see should've online all the time.
I know. Even native speakers type it in messages. But should've is never correct. The real word is should've, a contraction of should have. The apostrophe replaces the letters HA in have.
So should've. That makes sense, but why do I hear should've?
Because in fast speech, have reduces to the sound UV. Should've sounds like should you've. It can definitely sound like should've, but when you write it, it must always be should've.
Okay, so if I hear someone say you should have told me, they're saying should have, not should've.
Exactly. Say it with me. You should have told me.
You should have told me.
Beautiful. Now another common one. She should have called earlier.
She should have called earlier.
That's how people express regret in English. If you say she should have called earlier in full, it's not wrong, but it can sound like a parent scolding a child. Should have keeps it conversational.
What about should not have? Can we contract that?
Excellent question. The negative contraction is shouldn't have in fast speech, but for beginners, it's safer to say shouldn't have, never shouldn't have. Same rule. Of is always wrong.
Should have, would have, could have. Are those all mistakes?
100%. The correct forms are should've, would've, could've. I've seen learners from many language backgrounds make this mistake, especially Spanish speakers, because in Spanish, debeure or haver expressions can feel similar to of when translating. Arabic speakers also sometimes write of because they are mapping sounds. And yes, Chinese speakers also struggle with spelling the reduced have because the sound is so quick, but once you know it, you will never see it the same way again.
So it's not just a beginner mistake?
No, it's a native English speaker mistake too. That's how common it is. But now you have the advantage. You know the rule. Should've, would've, could've, never of.
Can should've mean criticism or advice?
Great question. Should've often expresses regret or a missed opportunity. For example, I should have studied more for that test. Or, I should have bought that jacket when it was on sale. It can also give gentle criticism. You should have asked before borrowing the car, but the contraction makes the criticism sound less harsh than you should have asked.
That's really useful. So it's not just a grammar word, it's a feeling word.
Exactly. It carries the feeling of looking back and saying that was the better choice. If you want to sound like a native, connect the word to that feeling. That's much better than memorizing a rule. Let's zoom out. Why do contractions matter culturally in American English? Because they signal friendliness. When you use can't, won't, wouldn't, and should've in conversation, you are telling the listener, we are in a normal, relaxed interaction. Dropping them can feel like you are building a wall.
So if I always use full forms, I sound cold?
Often, yes. Think about an apology. I'm sorry, I can't make it sound genuine. I am sorry, I cannot make it sound like an automated customer service response. The words are almost the same, but the feeling is completely different.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
And here's another cultural piece. In movies, when a robot or an alien character is trying to imitate human speech, they often use full forms. That's why I will not comply sounds robotic. Real humans say I won't.
I had not thought of that. I hadn't thought of that.
And that small self-correction you just made is exactly the kind of habit we are building. You instinctively contracted had not into. Hadn't. That's a great sign.
I did it without thinking. Nice.
For our listeners whose first language is Chinese, I notice another specific pattern. Because Mandarin doesn't use contractions the same way, it can feel safer to say cannot, will not, would not, and should have. But in spoken English, that safety creates a new problem. You sound more formal than you intend. A good tip is to practice the contraction and the full form side by side. You will start to feel how the contraction is quicker and warmer.
What about for listeners who speak Arabic?
Arabic speakers have beautiful, clear consonant pronunciation, and sometimes they overpronounce the final sounds in contractions. For example, can't becomes can, ta with an extra vowel. That extra vowel can make the word sound like cannot, in a strange way. The goal is to keep the final consonant short, almost hidden.
And for Spanish speakers?
Spanish speakers often mix up can and can't because the final tas is not a strong sound in Spanish. My best tip is to focus on the vowel length. Can is often shorter and more relaxed. I can go. Can't has a little more tension and the air stop. I can't go. Put your hand in front of your mouth and feel the air stop for can't.
That physical feeling is really helpful.
Let's try it. Say I can go. Now I can't go. Do you feel that tiny stop?
I can go. I can't go. Yes, I felt it.
Great. That tiny stop changes the entire meaning. Missing it could cause a major misunderstanding at work or with friends.
Okay, I think I'm ready for a challenge.
Let's do it. This is the practice round for everyone listening. I'll say a sentence in full form, and you and Leo will turn it into a contraction. No pausing, just say it naturally. Here we go.
Bring it on.
Number 1, I cannot hear you.
I can't hear you.
Good. Number 2, she will not be at the meeting.
She won't be at the meeting.
Perfect. Number 3, I would not do that if I were you.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
That was smooth. Number 4, you should have called me.
You should have called me.
Yes. And remember, not you should have called me. That little correction is everything.
This is harder than I thought, but in a good way.
If today's episode is helping you, please subscribe to Speak Like a Native and hit the bell. There's a new lesson every day, and we want you to sound like a real person, not a textbook. Your subscription helps us keep making these conversations for you.
Yes, and if you love this one, share it with one friend who still says should have. They'll thank you later.
Let's recap today's 4 contractions. Can't for something you are unable to do. Won't for a future negative or refusal. Wouldn't for polite advice or imagined situations. And shoulda for regret and advice. Never should've.
What's the one thing to remember?
Today's rule, swap should've for should've. And let your contractions do the friendliness work. Say them and you will never sound like a robot again.
That's so good. I'm going to use can't, won't, wouldn't, and should've all day. Thanks, Maya.
Thank you, Leo, and thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep it natural.
See you next time.